What up, what up? Got another one for you. A little cool one, kind of what I'm seeing for the future. I guess like I've been saying, a lot of this isn't so much me, what my thoughts and feelings are, but kind of what I'm seeing from the people around me and kind of where I see nature kind of taking not only Cleveland but the whole country and the world in general. And the main reason why a lot of people make assumptions. The main reason why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and I'm doing them how I'm doing them, is to see how. Sorry about the traffic. It's kind of the best time for me to do these, but the main reason why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and I'm doing them the way that I'm doing them is so I can kind of see, how the government's being ran on like a public level, and kind of see, where improvements can be made, and where, a lot of the, I guess, what do you call those, potholes are that need to be properly filled in, not with this cheap shit that kind of, dissolves after a couple of months or whatever, but the stuff that is stable and can be maintained. That's kind of what I'm trying to, that's what we all are trying to do. It's not just me. And I see that very clearly. So I'm so glad that this is all happening. I can kind of see the people who've been doing the good work for a very, very long time. And they've been, holding the fort down. And I appreciate them. I'm glad that I can kind of, contribute to that as well. But, that's the reason why I'm going to the places that I'm going and doing what I'm doing. And so I can see these things, When you are kind of out of the public eye, you're kind of doing everything privately, and in the private sector, you can't really see these things because, in the private sector, you can just pay your way out of all these problems, all these situations, all these things don't really exist if you live in a certain place and you kind of carry yourself in a certain way with certain people. So, the fact that I have subconsciously put myself in a position to where I need to be surrounded by people who are in the best in the best positions for themselves, I can kind of see a lot of the issues that are causing so much of the chaos and the unnecessary suffering here in Cleveland. And that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing and going where I'm going. So, I know a lot of people making assumptions that I'm doing this, that, and the third. Whatever, they're going to keep doing that. I'm going to let them keep living their lives. But I'm basically taking inventory about what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? What needs to be done in the future to make sure that this doesn't repeat itself. And I'm seeing, so many of the problems, they're somewhat, I will hope, simple fixes. But I think the main issue, and I think that's very, very clear for most people, is the people who are in positions of power, from, people who work at the RTA, the libraries, all the way to the people in the government positions, the legislators, the elected officials, all of them. Most of them, they don't really stand for anything. You know what I'm saying? They stand for what's best for them and their constituents, and that's about it. They're not really, have a whole lot of long-term planning for the people, not only here currently, but most importantly for the future. Cleveland, for the most part, we're not a very future-proof city. You know what I'm saying? We pretty much only do things for the present, and then fuck them kids, as they say, and that's kind of not where we need to be if you want to continue to thrive and not have outsiders, come out. And not that that's a bad thing, but people who aren't from here coming here and basically taking over and showing us how to be decent human beings, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the tools and the foundation to do this ourselves. We just need people who care and who are truly, about things outside of themselves, who are pretty altruistic and who do admirable things, to have some of that power, but it can't be in the traditional sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I don't want to be a legislator. I don't be like a politician. I truly don't need to be in the government to do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I just need my presence needs to be here, right? And it doesn't even need to be physical. It's just like what I represent, and my thoughts and my ideas need to be here. That's basically it. And that does the vast majority of the heavy lifting that I need to do, that needs to be done. That's why I go to the places that I go. And I don't really do a whole lot, because all I need to do there is just be there physically. That's it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, and that's part of the jealousy, they wish they can do that and have that much power to just go to some place and just sit there and chill out, you know what I'm saying? But they can't. And I get that. I get the jealousy, but at the same time, I got to do what I got to do to make sure that this doesn't repeat itself. But also, I don't want to be cruel about it and go after these people and, scare them in ways that don't need to be happen, that don't need to happen. You know what I'm saying? I need to do the bare minimum, min-max this shit. So, the least amount of people get involved and hurt. They want to throw all these people in, get all these people involved that I guess need to be involved. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit up here and think too much about why all these people, they're throwing all these random ass people at me every single day. It's not really needed for me to know that information. The only thing that's needed right now is for me to understand that this is for the best. That's it. That's all that's truly needed. The rest of it, it's all, like I said, it's all just this me operating off of my ego, which I try not to do every single day. Try to be grounded and live in reality and understand that this is bigger than me, that I am no more important than the grass on the ground and the leaves on the trees and this, that, and the third. So I try to understand that every day I get the information that I need, but I can't go chasing the other shit because I will never get it. So that's kind of how I operate. And I believe that's how people who need to be in positions of power need to operate, you know what I'm saying, to make this what it needs to be. And that's the reason why I think this is all happening, because people see this change happening. They see the new way of living happening, you know what I'm saying? That's why in a few videos, I keep saying I want to turn Cleveland into like the Seattle of the Midwest. Because when I was there, you can definitely tell that the people, for the most part, really, really had a big influence on what was going on. And I was only downtown. That's a pretty corporate part of Seattle, you know what I'm saying? Like the night scene was very, very sterile, you know what I'm saying? Most places closed like at 10, 11 o'clock, even on the weekends. And there's a whole bunch of people in there, just doing the regular, oofy doofy ass yuppie shit. And it didn't have that, it didn't have a pulse to it, you know what I'm saying? It was like I said, it was very sedated. I'm like, it probably wasn't always like this. And sure as shit, once I started, going to more local spots, it wasn't, Once, the big money came in there, Microsoft, Amazon, Starbucks, and all the little tech startups started showing up. That's when, Seattle started to change and it started to get very, very gentrified, and that's when the homeless problem just kind of ballooned out of proportion, where I just saw homeless people everywhere. It was insane. So we got to learn from that as well. But for the most part, I believe that we have the foundation to be that, because one of the biggest things I saw there in Seattle, they had a really big art scene, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, music, live music damn near everywhere, like even downtown. Like I wish I would have went next time I go. I'm gonna go to the northern Seattle, and maybe a little east of Seattle as well. So I know that's kind of where most of the locals are. So they can't afford to live downtown, unfortunately. At least not anymore. But I'm gonna start hitting up those places and kind of see the different parts of Seattle that I kind of wanted to see. I also want to go to Vancouver as well. That's not too far from there, a few hour drive. But that's basically my idea, is to go to different places, take their really good ideas and see, can this be can we transfer this to Cleveland? Like, is this transferable? Can this actually can I plant this, and does this have the room to grow? And I believe it does. And I believe Cleveland and Seattle are very similar in a lot of ways, and I think that we can definitely have a budding and a beautiful relationship with our communities if we just kind of, build that bridge. And I think, once again, if we just have people who are just admirable and don't care about themselves, not afraid to stand for some shit, not afraid to die for some shit that's bigger than them, being in most of these positions of power, obviously we can't have all of them, They gotta have something. I get it. Can't be stingy. But at the same time, we just need more of those people. And I know they're there. Yeah, I'm not. I see y'all, but at the same time, there's too many of the other people who are just kind of used to what things used to be, and they don't like change. So they're going to fight you to the death, which I'm here for. But that's kind of what is needed right now, and that's happening. That's very, very much on the horizon. Is that type of change. So if anybody, has any, who kind of, sees it the way that I see it and kind of, are in the same alignment to me, I definitely implore you to make your way over to Seattle. I haven't been there, it's like 2018, so I haven't been there post-COVID, so it's probably changed a little bit, but I'm pretty sure most of what was there is still there. And so, go downtown. There's some really cool ass hostels. I stayed in the hostel when I was there. Really dope ass people from all over the world, They do some really cool community shit there. Now that's another thing I want to bring to Cleveland is hostels. We definitely need some. I don't know why there's a reason for everything. I don't really care, but I know hostels can be very, very successful in a place like Cleveland. They're very cheap. They're very community, driven. You know what I'm saying? So you don't need a whole lot of investment, right? And it's a really good place for younger people, people in their late teens, early 20s to kind of go and explore and meet people in their own backyard, have people from all over the world. They go to that hostel, to chill out, have a cheap place to sleep, and also have like community stuff, a refrigerator, bathroom, all that fun stuff without breaking the bank and still having money to, go and spend it other places in the city. I think it's like a win-win for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I think that will be a huge thing for us and for the future, for all of us to kind of, just do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? So I know the people who are, who don't see it this way, they're not bad people. I know people want to kind of, demonize others, and it makes us feel better about ourselves, but it's very self-serving. It's very egotistical, and I don't think it helps us long-term to like demonize other people. I know I kind of do it too. I'm no different. But at the same time, I understand what this is, and every day I understand what this is, and I'm getting more and more clarity from this perspective. I'm getting a lot more of my blessings because of this perspective as well. That's why, the next time I do try to go downtown, it will actually be more permanent. All the times I tried doing it before, it always fell apart because I was putting the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go downtown. I didn't need to be downtown. I needed to be other places first to kind of learn, because downtown's the end game. I wasn't ready, you know what I'm saying? I still needed to learn, still needed to grow as a person. And I was not this person 10 years ago at all, not even close. And that's when I wanted to move downtown. 2016 was the year I wanted to go, because that year was insane. You know what I'm saying? The Cavs won the championship. The Indians were in the World Series. Downtown, that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience downtown. During that time, I wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't need to be. I did not need to be. So you were downtown. I know my homeboy was down. He was down there at that time, I'm glad y'all lived it up. I hoped you did. I'm glad you did. But there's going to be more of those. There's going to be more of those. We just all have to kind of come together and make sure that happens. But everyone needs to be on the same page on that. You know what I'm saying? We all need to be on the same page. We cannot do this by ourselves. We cannot do this, out of spite. We cannot be, fighting against each other. You know what I'm saying? We all have to be on the same page no matter what. We're all not going to get what we want, but we're all going to get what our needs are. You know what I'm saying? Every time I look at Cleveland, look at downtown, I see nothing but beauty. So it's like, I know what is possible. I know what it is. I'm pretty sure out of most of the people here, I have like the most clarity about what things are, because I've been to places and I've seen it from the locals' perspective. You know what I'm saying? I try not to go, even when I get Airbnbs, I get them where the locals live. I don't stay in hotels and shit. I don't do that. I stay where the locals are. I don't care how dangerous it might be on the outside, that's what the people are. That's what the heart is. You know what I'm saying? And I go to those places for the most part, especially when I'm by myself, because I know that's where the sauce is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that I do that. I'm glad that that's how I carry myself, because you get that fear out of your system of being like, oh, when I go to these different places in different countries, I gotta stay in these resorts and shit. Like, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously they can smell your fear, so don't be scared. If you're scared, then yeah, maybe you should be in a hotel or whatever. But if you're not, you know, just go out there. Sure, you know, not all of you are 6'2" black dudes, so I get that. You know, you gotta live in reality. But at the same time, you know, most people they ain't gonna really fuck with you too much. You know, all these statistics about what happens to people who go to these different places, they're all overblown to try to scare you. You know, it's all a test. So don't fail it. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, travel, see the world, do the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I know we have the infrastructure once again to do that. We can rebuild our airport. You know what I'm saying? And have a lot more destinations to go. Cleveland can be a destination spot similar to Chicago. So it's something that I know is in the works for us. We just all just gotta continue going day by day. You take it day by day, essentially. So that's basically how I see it. And I know Seattle is one of those places where I just know the blueprint that they have is similar to what we need to do and where we need to go. So that's basically it. I want to get that thought out, because I know, people are constantly, trying to figure out what my game plan is and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And I don't say anything because y'all don't speak to me, but hopefully these videos are at least some consolation to help bridge that gap and get us all kind of on the same page. But other than that, I'll catch y'all on the next one.